Thank
nice.
So, thank you. This is Peter Street in Manchester, really historic place. This is the site of the Peterloo Massacre. It's also where Bob Dylan played electric and someone shouted Judas at him in 1966. In a similarly historic moment today after a long 4-month campaign. Now, this is somewhere between A-level maths and bingo calling.
And in the affiliates, 13.40.
Ed's won. That I think means that Ed's won, but I was rubbish at maths.
In the affiliates, 19.5.
Good God. That's it. There you go. There you go. David Miliband was the candidate of the New Labour establishment. He had much more money behind him. He's the elder of the two brothers. And yet, Ed Miliband, by a whisker, is now the leader of the Labour Party.
Nerve-wracking, exhilarating.
Absolutely delighted.
All of these people who think they can manipulate the Labour Party, the population and media, they've had their comeuppance.
The first word was Ed, but to be honest, I wasn't thinking he was about to say no. Ed was spirited away as the new leader of the Labour Party to go and do what Labour leaders do.
Less of this sort of gung-ho, very aggressive politics that we're seeing.
To vigorously campaign and bring the Labour Party behind a yes in next May's referendum.
Well, we want somebody who's going to defend Royal Mail, of course.
And legal loan sharking.
Build bridges, that's his nature, and he'll need to do a great deal of that in the weeks and months ahead.
Rebuild Labour from the bottom up. Got to think about tax now. We've got to lose that new Labour timidity about tax.
I want him to change the country. I want him to do something really different. I want him to make a country more equal, more democratic, more sustainable. I want him to make a nice place with, where people have got smiles on their faces, where we're decent and kind to each other.
I don't know really. I don't know what I don't know him, right? I want to know what he's like. I'm not interested in all this box ticking that's been going on through all these policies for the last 4 months about agency workers and housing and all that. That seems to me like sort of a bit old hat. That was a debate 3 or 4 years ago. I want to know what he's about. I want to know where he's coming from, what he believes, what he thinks the Labour Party's about, a much deeper sense of a sentiment from him, because I find him a pretty elusive character. So he's got a big opportunity, though, to define himself.
How long have we got?
Well, clearly everything.
Ed could not catch on. Ed could be absolutely pilloried by the media.
I think he has to be wary of losing all of those volunteers. They made his movement. There were 4,000 of them, and most of them were young people.
It's the biggest political risk actually facing Labour at the moment, that it looks like we're not in the real world when it comes to the financial challenge the country's facing.
I think he should be wary of thinking that he's the answer to everyone's problems. I think, we need a new type of politics with a new type of leadership that doesn't say, I'm it, follow me, to the bitter end, and everything I do is brilliant and you can get lost if you don't like any of it.
We've got 29% of the polls. In Sweden we got 30%. In Germany we've got 23%. Worst ever defeat bar 83, when we invited the Russians in and abolished the police. That's trouble, isn't it? What should possibly go wrong? We could be out for a long time. If we just say this big society's rubbish, we just trash it, say one more heave, all that. We need radicalism. We need to talk about identity, nationhood, class, race. I'm more interested in the English Defence League than I am in the Labour Party at the moment. Do you know what I mean? In terms of those...
in the best possible way.
Yeah. Sorry.
You backed his brother, one of the big stories of the campaign, I guess, or big-ish stories. Would those dangers still have been there in that volume with his brother?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I don't see much difference between them, see?
Right.
But I just thought one was eminently electable in terms of the country, and I think possibly the other one is slightly less so. But it's up for him to define.
Okay.
So it seemed to me to be, what's the basic point? 30 years ago I got over this idea of you vote for someone because they agree with you. You know what I mean? It seems to me it's incumbent as a representative of someone with a vote to make sure that we get a Labour government in as quickly as possible, and it seemed to me, just from the polls, that David Miliband looked like the better bet. But the page turns, We're all on a journey, to quote Mr. Blair.
It's wretched, it's horrible. Yes, I agree with that. I feel really, really upset and gutted on David's behalf. I hoped he would be the leader of the Labour Party, and for him, it is a profound personal tragedy.
And what now for him?
Well, I hope that he will continue to be a senior member of the Labour team.
You got any younger siblings?
I have a younger brother, yeah.
All right, how would you feel?
Rodri.
How would you feel if he stole your destiny away?
Chuck him down the stairs. Maybe people have underestimated Ed Miliband this year rather too much.
Ed has been knee-deep in policy detail across government, and I don't think David Cameron ever had that kind of policy grasp, the detail. And I think he's often been a bit glib when it comes to policy, you know, a bit superficial.
He could change the Labour Party. He could say that, you know, there's been a stranglehold from the top of this party on everybody else in it. You know, we've put the pillow over the face of the party, you know, because we don't want to hear what they've got to say. And they've almost killed it. Now, can he revitalise that?
There were hundreds and thousands of young people who joined the Labour Party because of Ed Miliband's candidacy. That's actually true.
Yeah, it was completely humbling, overwhelming.
New Labour was frightened of its own shadow. It was always worrying about what would this newspaper say, what would that media outlet say. We've got to stop worrying about that. We've got to do the right thing by the people who look to a Labour government to give them a better life, more chances in life.
There's going to be people on the streets of this city, many others I assume, within 12 months, and it will be visceral. It will be a visceral politics, and it will be about a base connection with people or not. And that's what Ed Miliband's got to have. So it's not about ticking boxes around, we should have done something on the Agency Workers Directive. Of course we should have done, but it's a much deeper sense of what is going to happen and what the country is about to embark on, and what does he want to do, you know?
Gramsci said, and I'm sure all you good
Great Italian communist.
web watchers know this, that we have to live without illusions without being disillusioned. You know, we can't expect these people, can't put them on a pedestal and expect, you know, little young, you know, cheeky-faced Ed Miliband to change it all for us. But, you know, he could be a leader that enable us to work with him. You know, and by us, I mean all you good people out there in Guardian web watching world who want this kind of better world. If we all work with him, you know, and push him when he's doing the right stuff and applaud him, and then, you know, pull him back and rein him in when he's doing the bad stuff, we might get the sort of better world we want to live in.